everybody, and welcome to the SyFy Sistas podcast, where we give you our point of view. I am Tamia Harper, and I'm your host today, and I'm joined by my sisters, Sabrina Wood,
whoop, whoop.
JD Killing.
Hello.
And Fran Taylor.
What's up, y'all?
And we have a super special show here on this Trek Geeks podcast network, which we're so stoked to be a part of, because we have a guy hanging out with us that we have all come to love. You might have seen him acting on stage or in a Bread Factory Part 1 or in Release from 2020, but we know him. The SyFy Sisters know him as the son of the incredible woman who joined the sisters and the USS Gerard Holder from Starfleet Command in the house in the Terran takeover of STLV this year. But chances are, if you're listening to this particular podcast, you know him as everyone's favorite new Andorian on the scene, Ren from Star Trek Discovery Season 3. He stole all our hearts in the episodes Scavengers, The Sanctuary, and There Is a Tide, and he is living the ultimate fan dream life. He is the one and only Noah Averbach-Katz.
Oh,
Yay!
wow. What an intro. The way that my mom has always wanted me to be introduced as her son.
And that's right.
It.
She's our friend.
It's true. Yeah, actually, she let me be on your podcast, you know. She deemed that it was okay for me to join her friend. So thank you, Mom. I really appreciate it.
I'm so jealous that I wasn't in Vegas with you guys, but that's okay because I live vicariously through my other sisters. Hi, Mom. You have a daughter in DC that you haven't met yet. I'm here.
There you go.
Noah, we didn't know it was your mom at the time.
You know, it's probably better that way, honestly, you know, to not know and then be like, oh, that's why she was so maniacal about getting up on stage and running around and then constantly telling people, look, that's my son. There he is.
So what had happened was we were all together for, if you've ever been to the Star Trek conventions, they have the days where you're supposed to wear your costume for the big photo shoot. So we were in mirror costume. Now, a lot of people there go with TOS mirror, which I love. And, you know, nobody does, you know, DS9 mirror because there isn't any DS9 mirror, but whatever.
You just got to have the Kira headband.
Yeah, that's all you can do. That's all you can do. Unless you're the intendant, there's nothing to do. But we were rocking disco mirror, you know, so there was a whole thing going on. We had the breastplates on. Thank you, Ian Perry from Gerard Holder, for making our costumes for us. And I think, Noah, you saw the picture of her little daughter, of Anne and her daughter.
Oh,
they
yeah.
Came
well,
on, yes,
she
they
came
were
up on stage with me. Oh, yes. She came out for a second round nap. So I absolutely saw her.
She was adorable. So we were rocking those.
The littlest emperor.
I know. She was sleeping, but in that mirror costume, I was just sort of waiting for her to wake up and stab me in the top of my head.
So we're standing around in the Roddenberry stage room, getting ready for the big picture of everybody that's wearing mirror. And, you know, there was one other woman that was wearing disco mirror. So she said, hey, can I hang out with you? And I'm like, damn, she's got all the stuff on. I mean, she was rocking and she had the collar, she had a phaser. I was like, oh, hell yeah, come on and hang with us.
So she had been prepping that, sorry to interrupt the story, but she had been prepping that costume for STLV for like a year. Like she had been waiting. She bought it. She got it like cut, you know, because she never really does like big cosplay like that. She'll wear a uniform, but it's never like I'm getting like the full on cosplay. So this for her was like the first time she had done a full regalia of cosplay. So it was kind of a big deal made just for her. And even that phaser, my friend John 3D printed it and sent it to me. And I was like, well, Mary doesn't want a phaser in her house. She has to hold them all day, get it out of here. So I said, Mom, this is perfect for your costume. So she was ready to go.
Mary's like, this is a postman's holiday. What are you doing?
Exactly.
So your mom comes over to me, and I think, Fran, you were standing next to me, or Yvette. I can't remember. So we're in our costumes getting ready. And, you know, we're like, yeah, hang with us. And, we're just talking and we're just having a fine time. We're just laughing because we're like the only ones wearing, terra firma. We're screaming terra firma. She's got the phaser. We are just vibing this thing. So we go up on the stage. Everybody's on the stage now taking pictures. Like the guys are there from, the convention, and the flashes are going off, and we're all on the stage. So then we decided, we wanted to get a picture of just us, the older guys on the stage, because everybody got off the stage except your mom. So she's in the picture with us. And we're like, well, okay. And so she's right in the middle with her face. And we're like, no, girlfriend, stay right here because you are so in this. Right, Fred? We're like, no, you're on the holder right now. Come on. We were like, come on, yeah. She gets into it. She does like full phaser stance. I am just rolling. We have these pictures, and I was just like, oh my God. Then she said,
you got to put them up. You got to post those on Twitter when you post this episode, because the world needs to see these photos.
They are. And so so the next day, go to the next day. Yvette and I and Fran, we're all sitting in the audience at the Discovery panel. We're like, okay, Noah, Mary, everybody's up there, man. This is going to be great. You start talking, and then you introduce your mother from the audience, and our mouths drop when we go, it's the woman from the picture.
That is too funny. That is fantastic. That is just fantastic.
Well, thank God we were nice to her. We could have pushed Noah's mother off the stage, and it would have been horrible.
Well, I've never heard that version of the story before, where mom just stayed there, which is absolutely in character. So I know that it's her. My mom, as goofy as she is, has an uncanny ability to seek out the coolest, funnest people at any event. So when she chose you, I knew it was ordained, Kismet. It was really like, these are the people, these are the folks who know where the party's at, who know how to have a good time. So I got to stick with them.
And then we were seeing her all around the convention. We were like, yo, hey.
Oh, that is just amazing. Well, thank you for letting her stay up there.
Of course.
I think, she was up there and she just sort of flashed into the mirror universe and was like, go ahead and try to take me off this stage. You know.
And she was terra firmament with
us. She was terra firmament with us, boy. And she was not moving till the last flash.
I know. I was like,
I like this woman.
Mom, what are you channeling right now? What is this? You're representing me at this convention, and you're like,
she was
people
full
getting
chief
real
of security,
vibes.
Full chief of security. But she was totally representing you. Then she goes, I'm going to tell my son that he has to do your podcast. And I'm like, well, who's your son?
That's so funny. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Who?
My son?
We're like, okay, you want your son to do our podcast? Sure.
Okay,
yeah, here's a card, lady. Yeah, tell your son to call us.
He's a doctor. What are you talking about? That is fantastic.
That's how we know. That's how we know you now. No. Yeah. Your mother introduced us on Twitter. I was just in stitches.
Well, good. That's fantastic. I love that. Yeah, that's pretty much that all checks out from my end. You're probably being more kind to how into it that she actually got. So I appreciate you all holding back and not really, embarrassing her. How loud she was screaming terra firma after you all left. And scream it in the halls. People would sort of flinch. So,
I hear that there's some serious power in that costume, though. Once you go terra firma, baby, it does something to you.
It's funny too, because I was, my mom is a big Star Trek fan. We grew up watching Next Gen together and Voyager and everything, and I was sort of surprised that this was the costume she chose to cosplay for, like her sort of cosplay ball. This was what she decided on, and it really revealed some things about my mother that I'm not sure I'm ready to fully comprehend yet.
Well, she was trying to honor you. I mean, she didn't go as Andorian.
Yes, she also didn't go as Mary, which was a good call as well.
Right?
Not going as Tilly.
That just would have been a little too freaky.
Yeah. So probably for the best. That really made her feel strong.
Something about she knew she was going to look good in black leather. She knew.
You know what?
Mom is beautiful.
I think you're right.
Your mom is beautiful. When they sent the pictures, I saw these pictures. I was like, who is this woman? She is like, she is looking fly. What the hell? Like,
she was. That's why people were like,
I'm going to be honest. At first I was like, where'd the white woman come from?
Yeah.
And then I was like, she looks good.
Good.
She is rocking it.
Oh my God, that is so funny. Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. People were like, who's this white woman in all the pictures that
How did she have what's going on here? It's like, well, you know,
got a phaser. So
I guess in the mirror universe, the only real thing is blood. You know, she's got the phaser. What are you gonna do?
Right. But see, now she knows she's got a crew that's got her back.
And you know, she has had many, you know, we're talking 35 years of the opportunity to join a crew. There have been many offers to her to join a crew. So the fact that she joined yours is like momentous, you know, that is the real deal. She picked wisely. So congratulations to you all. I don't actually know if that's a good thing for you, but at least
no, she is good people. We absolutely had the best time, and we had a really good time. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that because we've talked to so many other people, and we always ask the question as how you came into Star Trek. And you just mentioned that it was on Next Gen, and we've noticed that it's like fathers and sons, it's mothers and daughters, but I think this is an unusual one where it's mother and son, and yes. I love that.
Well, you know, she was, people have asked me, you know, what's your first Star Trek memory? And there isn't one. You know, it was just happening. You know, my dad was sort of like, his only rule was you can't be a Republican. And my mom's only rule was you are a Star Trek fan. You know, those are the only two things that were decided for me. Everything else I could choose for myself.
Okay, I'm coming over then.
But, you know, she's a therapist, and I think especially having Troy on Next Gen, it just really felt like it was sort of a view of her world, you know, and I know, you know, it's obviously it was a long time ago, but it just really felt like it was her, you know, when are you ever going to see a therapist in sci-fi, you know, so it sort of melded her two deep interests, which are sort of like building a better world, a utopian world coming out of that, you know, the 70s and 60s and working in group homes and really trying to, you know, make a difference, and then sort of transitioning into therapy and working for the county and lower income families and stuff. And just seeing that sort of almost the end game of what she's trying to do, where you're in space and these problems have been, you know, solved, quote unquote. And I think it just meant a lot. And as a kid, it was just a really good way to sort of contextualize what she did for a living and why she did it. So it was great.
Oh, okay.
I think that is so great. And we have a bit of, in Discovery too, we have a bit of that, you know, therapy coming in now. And we're going to see, I think, a lot more of it in season 4. So I want to get your mom. We have to have your mom come back and talk about that.
Absolutely. Because you see podcast. You see our doctor, his role changing.
Yes,
even
definitely.
in season 3, like, you know, definitely. And it was funny because when I was rewatching your episodes in preparation for this, I didn't realize how they had started seeding that germ really early, you know, and I was like, oh, wow, Colbert he's really growing a lot, you know, but I totally. Yeah. Tell your mom, she's up
next.
Season 4. The only problem is she's going to come in here and all she's going to talk about is me. You know what I mean? So be like, well, we heard all these stories about
there are worse things that can happen in this world.
Well,
you know?
not for me, but for everybody else. Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about the fact that you are living the dream. I mean, to go from absolute total fan and then becoming like the third important Andorian, like an Andorian with a name. I mean, you're in some really good company here. And I'm telling you, your scenes were great. Those are 3 really great episodes. You got to do everything.
It's true.
Can I just jump in here real quick? I've got to tell you, because I think that, I mean, it's really cool that you're one of us, you know, and I think that's why one of the reasons why people have attached onto you so strongly and have brought you into the fold so deeply, because you get us, you are us, you know, and you get to also play and do this wonderful thing that we love and bring it to life. But I don't think it would have been so successful if you hadn't just knocked it out of the park like you did. We would have been like, okay, he's a fan. That's cool. Like, yeah, he's a fan who did it. Like, bye, see you. You're dead now. And now we're all like, how is he dead? Nobody wanted Rin to die. Nobody. And I still argue with those writers. Rin did not need to die. Damn it all to hell.
Well, you can talk to my mom about that one when she comes on. She'll definitely go in. Well, it's been amazing, and thank you guys so much. I really appreciate that, and it's been an incredible. It's just been so much fun, I've just been having so much fun, and in terms of like Rin's sticking power and this thing, I did get to do so much in such a short time, I wasn't sort of stuck in one location. I got to interact with a bunch of different characters. I got to be in different locations, different situations. I got to deal with different problems, which, especially in Discovery, when you have, so many less, you just have so much less time to sort of delve into characters who aren't either, the main cast and crew or the sort of villain that felt like really kind of actually new and fun and exciting. And, part of what was great was being a lifelong Star Trek fan. I really was able to just both like soak up everything that was happening, but also because I was so excited that Mary was on the show, I had been on set, basically any chance that I could get for the past 2.5 years up to that point. So by the time I got there, I knew everybody already. They knew me. They were excited for me. So, I wasn't sort of trying to find my way in as much. There was still some like, how the hell am I going to act in this blue makeup? But I knew everybody, I knew, so that was really helpful. And then, as a fan, it was really helpful to really understand the Star Trek genre. So like what sort of Star Trek can hold, which is a lot, it can really hold some, life and death, seriousness, getting shot and blasted and saving your friend, but can also hold goofiness and campiness and a thumbs up and holding the cat and stuff. So it really felt exactly, and understanding it as deeply and sort of on like just a cellular level that I feel like I do, it just allowed me to worry about everything else in a way. There was still plenty to worry about, plenty to focus on, but I didn't have to worry about, do I know how to fit into this world? So I'm really happy,
You did get to do everything.
Yeah, I want to say to you, even with, excuse me, I have to say this, even with all the blue stuff on, your eyes for me told a story in every scene you were in.
Every single one.
I so appreciate that, friend. Because when I first got that mask on, those masks are full face. Every part of your face is covered in essentially like a 1/4 inch coating of rubber, including your lips.
Wow.
And so the sort of subtle facial movements that a regular person would make to sort of convey emotion or feeling or whatever, they just don't come through. It's not responsive like that. It really is like wearing a very thick mask. And, I was really like, this character was so internal. He was quiet. He was small. It wasn't like, what I had watched Mary Chieffo or Ken do with the Klingons, which are big, and you really want to manipulate and force and pull the mask underneath with your face. If I did that with this, it felt suddenly you could see the mask. You could see the mask bending unnaturally, and also the acting wouldn't match up. If I'm making a big face underneath to manipulate the mask, it would come out false. So, what I did on basically day one is I was like, I got great advice from Doug and Ken and Chieffo, who I love so much. And then when I was on set, I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. What am I going to do? And I my first days on set, I was with David Ajala, and I watched him do a scene and I thought, oh shit, he's really fucking good. And I went and watched playback and I thought to myself, maybe I'll just try and copy whatever David does. I'll just do what David Ajala does. He's amazing and he's great. And really what I sort of noticed in watching his playback was it's just so much was going on in the eyes. And he has these amazing eyes that especially pop on camera. It's just wild what he's able to do. And so I really appreciate that comment, friend, because really my hope was I'm not going to try and make this mask work. I'm going to sort of let, it's such a unique face. When you look at it, you can really pick up a story from it. It's almost like looking at someone with, who's like sun blasted. You just, that face has a story. I thought, about that. The only part that's really open, the only part that's me is my eyes. And even those had, these really fit contacts in them.
Yeah, that's right.
But if maybe I could try and focus on conveying the emotion or the beat of the story through my eyes, that the rest of the character, the audience could just sort of imagine onto that face and not worry about whether or not, the small lines were creasing instead. So I really appreciate that. I'm really happy to hear that came through, because it was a real challenge.
Definitely.
It did. I think that's one thing that all of us picked up on, that we love so much about that performance. There's so much was communicated. I could gush about it some more.
I have a question
for my mom.
I have a question about the makeup. Is there a reason why they changed from, the TOS, and I know this older style of costuming, but it was just, Jeffrey Combs just had the paint and had a full face open, and you had this other sort of face on. Is there some reason why?
The truth is, I don't know the real answer. There's somebody who knows the real answer. I could tell you. I've heard a couple of things. I think, the main thing that I've heard is that with like super high definition cameras, these mega cameras, these seams can really start to come through, and the color matching isn't always right. And so having a full face, allows for it to visually be stunning in a way. When you go back and look, I love all the old makeup. I love the old Andorians. This isn't, bashing anything, but when you watch these old ones, especially the remasters that were shot on film, and you watch them in AD, you can really see the seams. You can see days where the color wasn't matching, even on Enterprise. So that's sort of what I have heard.
That makes sense. But
it's a real challenge, and it's a real trade-off that somebody's making that's not me, because it's easy to lose an actor under that mask. I mean, it's almost impossible not to lose an actor under that makeup. That's what makes Doug so insanely impressive, is you never lose him under that makeup, and he's doing it every single day, so that's just such a testament to his talent, because it's so easy to just get completely lost under that, because, having those open places on the mouth, even just having that little bit act a little bit more naturally, just completely changes what you're able to do as an actor.
Well, I think that maybe your Julliard background helped you quite a bit. I did do a little research and realized that you, Mary, and the other Mary, Chief,
and Mary,
are all from Julliard. Now, were you all there at the same time?
We weren't just all there at the same time. We were in the same class. Mary Chifo and I did our first Julliard auditions in San Francisco together in 2010. Wow. So we've known each other for almost 11 years now. And Mary Wiseman and Chifo were, on the show and going up there concurrently. It's just been, it's just wild, but it's also been amazing, because Chifo was, Mary and I came in the way that Julliard is, there's graduate and undergraduate together. And so Mary and I came in as graduates. I was in my early 20s, Mary's in her mid 20s, but Chifo was 18 when she came into that building. you know, and now she's, you know, in her late 20s. So we've really like spent significant amounts of time together. So getting to see her again now at the conventions, it's just been like one of those extra little treats on top. And I know for her, you know, watching me on screen was an exciting, moving experience for her. You know, she's told me, because it's like, oh, well, this is my guy and he's on my show now. This is amazing, you know? So
you would now all forever be at conventions together, no matter what else happens.
Right?
Exactly. And, you know, she was one of the first people I turned to for mask work, because she is just really, really excellent at that stuff, and really had to go through the ringer with that Klingon stuff. You know, for all the stuff that I had to do in the masks, I didn't have to wear teeth, so that was great.
Mm-hmm. Right. No teeth. Oh my God!
I just decided to act with my eyes, the whites of my eyes that were open, and my teeth. That was it. That was all I got. I didn't get a batleth though, so that would have probably helped a lot.
Yeah, but you know what? You got to do. I watched all 3 episodes again. I think I watched them twice. And, you know, once I just watched the whole episodes, and then I watched you. And I said, he must be having a blast. You're doing stunts.
I got to do so much.
You know,
I had a little book, and me and my mom, every day after shooting, we'd check off, what's like Star Trek, you know, capital Star Trek thing did I get to do today? Even down to the thing that I got to do, where you get to be beamed up while you're running. Then running. And then I even made sure that as I was beaming up and running, that I did the thing where you hit off the side panel and then fall to the floor. It wasn't just run and fall. That's not how you do it. You hit off the wall and then you fall.
I watched you and I said, this guy is just soaking it up. And I loved it, because I was just like, oh my God, if he does like a Kirk roll in a minute, I'm just going to die.
I know. The only things I didn't get to do, I didn't get to wear a Starfleet uniform, and I didn't get to two-handed punch somebody.
Yeah, all right.
I think that's about it. But other than that,
did you get to do the Riker straddle the chair? Did you get to do the Riker maneuver?
I didn't get to do the Riker, but I'll tell you what. In fairness to me, there was a moment where there was a chair, but Jonathan Frakes was directing that episode, and I was gonna do that in the scene. He
in his face,
fucking livid. Doing. So I considered it, but you know, I'm thinking more like, you know, general. I'm not trying to ape anybody. You know, I didn't do the Picard maneuver. I didn't do the Riker maneuver. So, but I did have a beard, you know. So that
there were going to be some Ren maneuvers. Now, I think
exactly.
The transport thing was
I gave, you know, the thumbs up, man. That was mine. That was mine. Where I was like, I bet I can get away with this, and if I can get away with this, it will be a GIF, and it will stick around longer than I'll be dead, and still be
actually thinking GIF.
Yeah. So that's the Ren maneuver, is the thumbs up.
I love it.
Red maneuver. That's going to be our new thing, the red maneuver. Yeah. But I had to tell you, because I was just checking off all the stuff, and I was just laughing. I said, he's in a firefight. He's on the bio bed.
I'm in the fight. I get shot. I take a bullet.
Jealous.
Well, I mean, you probably, everyone's heard this story about me on that bio bed, but that was my first day.
No, I haven't.
It was my first day of shooting. It was the first time I did anything. I was in the mask, and I was so goddamn excited, because I wasn't just on the bio bed. I was unconscious on the bio bed. I had my shiny space blanket. Huge. Gotta have the space blanket.
You gotta have the space blanket. Oh, and then I had
my.
How thin was it?
It was tiny. It was nothing. It was like nothing, you know. And then I had a HUD display behind me, which had like the Andorian body going on. I mean, just that. I was in heaven, you know, because I feel like that was like one of the things where I thought, there's no way I'm going to be able to check this one off, to get to be in a bio bed with the space blanket. You know, maybe I'll run in and sit down, but I couldn't believe I got to check this off. And Sonequa and David, you know, who I know Sonequa super well. She was at our wedding, and I was getting to know David a little bit at that point. But, you know, they're having a scene above me where they're sort of talking about me and what's going on and how everybody's doing. And I'm laying down, and they're talking, and I'm looking up. I'm so excited. I'm looking up, My eyes are wide open. I'm watching them and I'm smiling ear to ear, just like, that sort of excited smile where you like can't stop smiling. And I'm smiling. I'm just totally grinning.
Frakes is like, cut.
And Sonequa looks down and goes, Noah, are you going to do that in the scene? And I was like, oh shit, I have to act. Oh no, this is terrible. This is the worst thing that's ever happened. I like in that moment, I was like, I actually have to act now. I can't just be a goober and be excited that they let me on the set. You know what I mean? So I was lucky that I didn't have any lines that first day, because the next time I got to set, I was like, exactly. I was struggling to be unconscious. I was so worried. I was like, how the hell am I going to do this? So I had a day to get my head in, but that was so funny. Sonequa was just the nicest, best person. So her sort of looking down, being like, hey, like, we have to make this TV show, bud. It was just so funny.
Like, I know you're having fun, but
you gotta close your eyes now.
Yeah, it's time. It's time.
You really hurt, Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you did get shot.
Yeah.
So I want to know. Okay, I know I'm asking so many questions, but I want to know. You're probably one of the few actors in Star Trek that came from the fan side and got to be on the cast. And I think the other person is probably Anson Mount. Have you talked to him? I mean, he was like a super fan and now he's Captain Pike. So
yeah, no, I haven't talked to Anson about his fandom yet. I'm curious. I spent some time with him during season 2, but for whatever, it's for whatever reason, we didn't ever get a chance to really talk and exchange fandom that much. I mostly got to talk with Ethan Pack that time for whatever reason. I feel like every time I came to set, Anson was working. The main person who I exchanged fandom with was Akiva Goldman, who's kind of the showrunner for Picard. And, on day one, when I got there, I was sort of like, I think it was the first filming of After Trek. So it was super, super early on. And I was looking around to show anybody the pictures of me as a 11-year-old at conventions. And I'd show them to somebody and they'd be like, okay, dude, I don't know who you are. I don't even know who these actors are. Please don't talk to me. I need to work. And I finally showed them to Akiva, and he whips out his phone, and then he started showing me pictures of him from the conventions in the late 70s. And I was like, there we go.
That's so awesome.
So that's really who I shared that fandom with. And then, what would happen is I'd be on set, just sort of hanging out in Video Village watching, and the prop guy would come up and be like, no, check this out, press this button or hold this, isn't it cool? Or the makeup person would be like, look at this, or the costume. So people would sort of come to me with the cool Star Trek thing that, that they were excited that they got to put in the show, because the actors were like, I need to learn my lines. I can't be excited about this gun right now. It's great. But they would come to me and show it. So it was pretty much out there. And then on the last day of shooting, no, not the last day of shooting, but on our last episode, I don't even know how it came up, but for some reason it came up that I was a fan of Enterprise, and Jonathan Frakes was like, so I hear you're a fan of Enterprise. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, and just sort of walked away. And I was like, understood. That's fair.
That's what the sisters do to me in here. I'm the Enterprise fan here. I'll tell you this. I actually bid on the Enterprise Zoom call for the Voyager documentary. Even though I love Voyager, they got money out of me when they said it was something about Enterprise. I was like, really? Enterprise? Okay, I'm buying that. So yeah, that's how bad I am about Enterprise.
That's amazing.
I love that show, but hey, it is what it is. But Frakes, so you're even your first director for your show.
My first director was Doug. Not Doug. He was the first director, which was
how do you pronounce his last name?
Well, do you notice I didn't say it?
No, way to call it out.
Mangled his last name in so many episodes.
Yeah, his name is Doug. That's all I'm saying.
Doug the director. Director Doug.
He was fantastic. You know, he's just like such a pro and had done episodes before. And I was so thankful that I wasn't working with Jonathan for my first episode, because it was like, let me get my head on straight. That would have been a little bit
that would
much,
been too much,
you know. But he was fantastic, and we just had a great time, and so much of that episode was just me and David. And this was sort of, you know, David had worked a ton with Sonequa, but this was sort of his first time where he was the guy on set. You know, he was the guy. There were 40 extras there. There was a huge set. We were on location, and he was the dude. And watching him be the sort of actor leader of that set and get the extras involved and amped and just playing with me as an actor and talking about acting, it was just such a great way to start that little journey that I had, that by the time I did get to work with Jonathan, I just was feeling so much confidence that he sort of imbued to me. So it wound up being great. And Doug was just so happy to let us work together and let us try things and let David sort of do his thing as well. So it was just awesome.
Well, that's great.
I have a quick question, because I kind of want to go back a little bit, because I'm slow sometimes and it takes me a little while to process. That's okay. Kind of like an old IBM. So I want to go back to like your mom and fandom, you know, and growing up with Star Trek. You know, how much, I wonder, I mean, I know my answer. I know what it is for me, but how much do you think it played a part in you becoming the man that you are?
Interesting. You know, I think what my mom wanted to do by taking me, you know, because what she would do is we'd watch Star Trek together. It was just sort of a thing that we did. And then we'd go to Star Trek conventions. And it was a weird time for me to go to Star Trek conventions, because I was like 12, 13. You know, this is like the late 90s. There's no such thing. Cosplay doesn't exist. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's no such thing as I mean, it was around, but like Comic-Con is about comics. You know what I mean? It's just like such a different world in terms of nerd culture. So like bringing me to these things, it was always like, ooh, you know, I don't know, you know, should I be going to this? Is this what I'm going to do? You know? So what she would do is she would sort of essentially abduct a friend or two, just be like, hey, you know, get in the car. And then she'd drive us to these conventions. So it was like, well, at least I'm not going just me and my mom. And I think on some level she's trying to, you know, the Star Trek ethos and that stuff. But like, I actually think what she was trying to do was introduce me to ways that people who maybe feel on the outside of mainstream society or mainstream community, or maybe people who feel like there's not always a place for them, where they find a place, you know, and how they interact as a community, and the way that communities that are chosen in this way, or that are sort of found out, the way that they treat each other, and also the way that, you know, people who you don't see or interact with in the, you know, quote unquote mainstream, especially, you know, late 90s mainstream community, get along and find each other and seek each other out, and are allowed to then be themselves, you know, and aren't sort of put down for being themselves. So I ultimately think, you know, that is really a lot of what I took away from my younger Star Trek experience, was having a little bit more empathy and understanding of people who are not allowed into a mainstream community and have to create one for themselves, or have to seek one out for themselves. So yeah, that's sort of what has kind of stuck with me, you know, and I think, you know, a lot of what Star Trek is about and why it's endured, I think the idea of like the utopia is a bit of a misdirect sometimes, because I think what it actually is and why it's endured is that it is about the communities that have formed around it, and the way that people have been allowed to join them and been encouraged to enjoy them, and also been encouraged to be themselves in a way that, basically up until extremely recently was not cool and not okay and not something that people wanted you to bring to the table. And it's only very recently that people are sort of realizing, oh, well, actually, these people had it right the whole time, and we should actually do more of what they were doing. So I think, in terms of how Star Trek has shaped me as a person, and also kind of what I think Star Trek is about, I do think it has a lot to do with community building and finding a place for people to be their authentic selves.
I think that's so true. I love that answer, because when I went to my first convention, well into adulthood, that was my first experience with being like probably the freest I had ever felt in my life, and that's what kept me coming back, year after year, to see these people. We all had this shared experience of a really profound freedom that is not afforded in our day-to-day lives. And I love the time context that you put that in too, because, I think a lot of people, I'm around a lot of people who are significantly younger than me all the time. And I don't think that they grasp how different it was. And, they said, well, I would have just done what I was going to do anyway. Like, I wonder what you really have, because me and my friends, like I was with the friends, always friends with the artsy fartsy kids, that was my whole crew. And we were doing our own thing for a long time. And we were like, we were kind of persecuted for that, for doing our own thing. So I wonder how many people, but nonetheless, it lets you know that it was this space for us that I think you're absolutely right about the utopia of Gene's vision being sort of a misdirect. Like, like the fans have always kept this. It's always been about the fans. The fans have always kept this culture alive. And you hit on the reason why. We make the space for each other. To live IDIC, to try to live IDIC every day.
Imagine being a little black girl in 1966 and you're a Star Trek fan and you have absolutely nobody to talk to about it. Nobody to talk to about it.
I would have called you friend, but I didn't know you.
I know, sweetheart. And then imagine being a grown woman and you try to talk to your friends about it. And of course they, their eyes get all glassy and then, oh, here she go again and everything. And then imagine meeting up with other women who look like you. Imagine meeting Miss Nichols. I've met her 3 times. And it's just, okay, I can be myself. And I can relate to other people. They relate to me. So, because did you go? Of course, I have to bring this up. Noah, were you at the New York premiere? Did you go to the New York premiere?
Of Discovery.
Discovery was for the 2nd season.
I think so, for season 2. Yeah, if Mary was there, then I was probably there.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't know if you were in the movie or not. And this lady stood up and shouted and said, "I've been waiting 50 years for this." And Anson Mount ran up the stairs, and that was me.
Wow! Hell yeah!
That was me. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah, so I had been waiting over 50 years to see myself, to see Sonequa and to see the gay people and all that stuff. We've been waiting a long time for that. Well, I have been, to be relatable and to look over and just see the look in somebody's eyes and they get you. They get you and they're not making fun of you or, they're not, because, I've been kind of ridiculed for some stuff, but
sure. Sure.
All Trekkies have been. I think, we're coming into the...
Yes.
Yeah, we've had to take it on the chin. I mean, I remember when Akiva Goldsmith, he came out on the Star Trek Day, And he pulled out his phone on the red carpet and showed the two young ladies his copy of the book from the convention. Yeah, he still had it. And I was not at that one. I was at the second one, but I was feeling it. Yeah, it's like back in the day, you didn't even want to tell anybody that you went to this thing.
Yeah.
So, and now, you're in Vegas, everybody's having a good time. People are jealous that you're going. They're like, oh my God, we're having whole Star Trek days. We got 4 shows on. We're the coolest thing going. It's a whole new world.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I took meds to get on a plane to go out to Las Vegas. I hadn't been on an airplane in over 20 years.
Wow, that's dedication.
And I said, I'm going. And my sister said, who's going to Vegas? And I'm like, oh gosh, that means I got to get on a plane.
All that way to meet my mom. How about that?
That's right.
Okay, so the other thing that I enjoyed about Vegas. So now that we were following your mom around, she said we had to come and meet you. And we went over to meet you at the Dungeons and Dragons panel that you did. And now that was the first time, I have to say, that was the first time I sat that long listening to anything about Dungeons and Dragons. That is like, I came in TOS, Fran and I, we came in back in the 60s. And so there was nothing. And so I think Stranger Things is when it all kind of came rushing back to everybody. Mm-hmm. And so I was sitting there saying like, okay, how did you guys get into this? And how are you? You're the DM of the. So tell us a little bit about that, because I want you to make up characters for the 5.
Oh wow!
Right now, I want.
Tell me what's a DM?
That's right.
So it's sort of the
Big Bang Theory.
Sort of like Dungeons and Dragons. Sort of think of it as like a community storytelling game, So there's the players who sort of interact in the world, and then there's the dungeon master who essentially creates the world and all the people who the players don't control. So, they sort of create a little story for the people to run through, and they create the challenges along the way. And then it's all sort of improvised, and you maybe roll some dice to see whether or not things go good or bad.
Right. So you that was a great session. I mean, we were that. Fran,
I hope it's not your last one too. You said it's your first. Hopefully it's not your last. It was, we had, shooting season 4 was super, super tough. It was right in the sort of worst of COVID, especially in Canada. It was just really challenging. People really were doing everything they could to stay safe. And that meant that the cast was not really hanging out outside of set, so people were going to work and they were going home. And it was just, again, this is for everybody, of course, but it was just a really, really challenging thing, especially, when you shoot in Toronto, you're away from your friends, your family, your home.
You're in Canada.
You're in Canada. And especially at the time, the border was completely closed. So you couldn't go back. You couldn't fly back and forth. So, some people had some really long, lonely breaks between the times that they were on set shooting. And I had thought about playing a D&D game with them when I was up there for season 3, but then I was on the show and I was like, I don't need to do that anymore. So for season 4, I'd seen Anthony tweet, I played a game with some friends, and then somebody mentioned it to Blue and they were super excited about it. And I just sort of like put out the call, and, Ian, Emily Coots, and Mary and Anthony and Blue just were totally game. And we had these weekly D&D Zoom games that people started really looking forward to, because it really gave us a chance to hang out with each other, spend some time with each other. That wasn't just like, at that point, like, and at that point, nobody wanted to do a Zoom drinks anymore. We were over it. There was nothing to talk about. Leave me alone. So it gave us a chance to sort of go on these adventures together and sort of create some new stories, which is what everybody was sort of so sorely lacking in those really difficult times during COVID, is you couldn't go on adventures together. You couldn't do things together, especially not in winter in Canada. So it gave us a chance to to get to know each other. Blue and Ian were still relatively new, so it gave me a chance to get to know them because I didn't really know either of them that well. And
they are hilarious.
They're wonderful, and I think getting to know them has been such a joy for me, talking about that sort of younger generation. They are just like light years, they're light years ahead of me. In terms of how they operate. And so getting to know them and learn from them was just such an absolute gift. And I think as the sort of Star Trek community gets to know them and their characters better, it'll sort of matriculate of just how awesome they are and how much they sort of have to impart on people who are older than them, which is incredible. And I've just really appreciated so much. And it was just a time to have fun and be silly and tell stories and be in control of your own story in a different way that you can't really do on set and you couldn't really do in your real life, And then, we were all going to Vegas together, and through, peep scrounging around, I got somebody's email and I was like, hey, can we do this thing? And they were like, what are you talking about? This is not, what do you mean? No, you can't do this thing. And I emailed back, I was like, just maybe let us do this thing. Like, all right, listen, we'll give you a room on like the last day. I do not understand what it is, but like, I guess if Anthony's doing it and Mary's doing it, we'll just like let you do it. And it was, I don't know, it was so much fun. Like half the people there were absolute D&D nerds, and we're like, it's actually a +5, sir. And the other half are like, what is going on? I do not understand.
I was that part.
Yeah,
that
half of the words made no sense. But I think the whole thing was like, look, like, and as a convention goer, this is what I wanted to sort of offer was like, look, you don't have to understand it. It's just a chance to get to see these people who you really like do some creative stuff, not as themselves, as something that they've created and brought to the table, and also really get a sneak peek at like how they really interact, you want to see how we really interact. It is like that goofiness around the table, so I think even if you didn't understand D&D, you still got a real window into our friendships, which are real, and I think that's just like a really special gift that I hoped to offer to all fans, D&D fans or not,
It was a great night. I think that those sort of, I don't know what's going to happen, I don't know if we can pull this off, panels that were in that room were some of the best ones because
that's great.
They just really came off like we were all just kind of sitting there like, okay, it's COVID. We can't do what we were going to do. We're just going to kind of wing it. And we're all going to have a party. I mean, that room was kind of packed. There were a lot of people in there.
Yeah, everybody came up to my table. I was like, this is maybe the first and probably the last time we'll ever do this. But I hopefully we'll get to do it some more because I think we've had a great time and
we'd heard about it, and so we were sort of like, yeah, we heard these guys play this game, and this is going to be like we could kind of watch it, and we could like really like be like with them. This is cool. So we came running in. Plus, your mother told us to come, so
then you gotta go. Yeah. Thanks for saving that one for last day. We had a great time, but if you want me on your ship,
you better go to my son's panel.
My son at the D&D panel. We were like, we will absolutely be there. Yes.
I had so much fun doing it. It was my first time doing something like that live, so I was like, I have no idea how this is going to go. So I just had so much fun.
It was good.
I'm just saying, if people can sit around and watch people play poker, really? Like you're just sitting in the audience watching people go like, are you bluffing? Are you not bluffing? I don't know. He's tugging on his glasses. Is that a sign? That's one of his tells. Like seriously, they can watch people play D&D.
Yeah, and Blue is so funny. They are so funny. They are really funny. And they're just so creative, and I'm just really excited for more of Blue and Ian sort of out in the Star Trek world because they are both just wonderful.
I can't wait to see the rest of that story. I really, it's a really interesting story, and I love the whole Trill, and I thought that scene where she first says to Stamos, when they say to Stamos that he was there at the lunch table, and then he just says, yeah, well, okay, and starts talking to, I mean, that scene always makes me kind of tear up. And he's explaining that, I get it.
It's so beautiful because, I mean, it's about that acceptance. It's those words that we all wish that we would hear from those figures in our lives that we're supposed to be getting that type of love and nourishment from, right? You know, I mean, it always touches me so deeply too, every time I watch that scene, because, you know, we get love in a lot of ways from our parental figures or whoever is in our life, you know, supposed to be nurturing us, but a lot of us don't, you know, we really don't. And that just, you know, or even just as friends, sometimes your friends come to you. I'm like the worst at it. My friends come to me for, you know, like this is going on and that's going on. And I immediately go into problem solving mode, you know, like I'm trying to solve all their problems. I'm like, well, did you try this? Did you do this? And sometimes people just want to hear like, oh, you know, what you're going through. Like, I hear you. It's valid. It's okay to feel this way and it's going to get better. And, you know, and that's it.
How about when Culber accepted them when he saw when they were on the ship, and he just instantly just hugged them, just hugged in, and I'm like, oh, instant acceptance, instant. It was instant. You know, I'm like, oh my gosh, look at that. He just like, oh, you do have kind eyes. They were right. You do have kind eyes. And of course, every time I see it, I'm like, oh, kind eyes.
You see why you gotta know her. There you go.
Yeah.
Friends are romantic, absolutely.
I am.
Friends are big softy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I am. I am. People don't know it, but
they know now.
They know now. I think JD is our Section 31 operative. She runs Section 31. See, she says nothing.
Yeah, smart.
Yeah, it's a total mark of Section 31.
It's been a blast.
Yes, Sabrina, I see you on the verge, Sabrina. Before I ask this other question, go ahead.
Well, I want to know, how can we get Noah in this show again? I mean, all right, so let's put our heads together, sisters, because as we know, women have made things happen in Star Trek for years. I mean, we had the write-in campaign, right? We started the convention. We could start a campaign of getting Noah onto another Star Trek show. So, sisters, let's put our heads together. We can get him on Picard.
Well, you know, I got to say, women got me on the show the first time between Mary and Michelle Paradise. So it's a good start already. Oh, yeah. You know, getting on the show was definitely, I had some friends on the inside, which was super, super helpful. And, you know, I would love to be back, but I got to do so much that I never feel like, you know, if I would have died in the first episode, I would have been like, well, I got to get back on there. Now I'm in this great position where, look, would I love to be back? Obviously, you know, come on. But also, if I'm never back on that show and this is what I got to do, I just feel so lucky, you know, especially being a Star Trek fan, knowing how many different things I did get to do, how long I got to stick around for Discovery, and you know, how challenging it is to come in as an American actor. It's actually really difficult because they shoot in Toronto and there's all these different actor guidelines. There's, you know, 13 episodes instead of 24. So it's just such a challenge. And, you know, I would love to be back on the show. And when I do, you know, you'll be the first to know. But if I don't, then, you know, it's okay. You know, it was a really remarkable little run that I did get to do. And I feel very, very lucky.
Well, that's so gracious of you and so lovely. And
well, I can't say the opposite, although.
Well, we're here to say that for you. So, you know, everybody at Paramount and Star Trek, if you're listening,
And we know you are.
We know you are. We want Noah back.
Yeah,
we want Noah back in some form. We want Noah back in some form or fashion. And this time, don't make him wear all that makeup.
Or make it a different color. How about that?
Yeah, if you could play a different alien race, is there one that you would want to play?
Well, it's a good question. Mary and I have been watching a lot of DS9 lately. Woo-hoo! We've gotten about season 5 there.
And
I've always felt a real affinity for Cardassians and their slyness and their, I don't know, they just are, I'd be very curious to hear about, what the Cardassians joining the Federation in the future looks like, and what like a real Cardassian looks like in the Federation. How do you manipulate how do you Machiavellian manipulate for good? I'd be very interested to explore.
Oh, brother, that would be good. Yeah, let's bring them back. I mean, that's a good alien race to be. We've guessed what alien races were. Who said they wanted to be a Cardassian? I think it was
Yvette.
Yvette said it.
No,
yeah.
I'm not sure. Yeah. Somebody wanted to be a Cardassian. It wasn't me. Cardassians you can do a lot with. You can have a lot of fun with them. I wanted to be a boring old trill,
Yeah, I want to be a Temerian.
There you go. I like that.
Oh, yeah. I'm totally into Tayshawn. That's my guy.
I love it.
I'm pretty sure I wanted to be a trill.
Lots of trills.
You wanted to be an android.
Oh, was it an android?
Yes, you said you wanted to be an android.
But an android that is accepted, like human looking.
Exactly.
Not like Data.
No.
I love Data.
You wanted to be like
Data.
a Soji android.
Yeah, I wanted to be a Soji android.
Yes, and JD wanted to be a Romulan because she already has pointed ears. I'm just repeating.
Jesus, this is true.
Amazing.
We've already got our aliens picked out. That's how nerdy we are.
I love it. Of course.
And I'm looking for it. So Noah.
Oh, I have a question for Noah.
Yes, JD.
Yes, because I am super petty. So, do you think there are Black Andorians?
Oh,
that's a great question. That's a great question.
I said save that for Muhammad.
I think there's blue Andorians.
Yes.
There's white Andorians.
Go Noah, go Noah, go Noah.
Are there black Andorians? Sure, yeah, fuck yeah, there are. They're on the back, they're on the back side of the moon, so I think, fuck yeah, there are.
Yeah, I just wanted to get like your official opinion on this.
My official beta-canonical position is there black Andorians? Fuck yeah.
That's the official. Fuck yeah.
Fran can't argue with me anymore.
Yeah.
No, okay.
Sorry.
There were no Black Orions.
Oh, what? Wait. Well, there's a Black Orion.
I'm also going to have to disagree with you on that. There are definitely some Black Orions.
He would know. He works for us
anytime.
Where are they? That's a good question. We haven't seen it yet. I will say,
in South Orion.
Listen, in fairness, friends. Yeah. The Orions that we met in season 4 were extremely white. They were Canadian. They were very white. So
okay, yeah.
White. They were. That's okay.
Oh my God. Janet is extremely white. So,
We need to back up out of this again because this is how the show went off the rails the last time we started with the Black Orions.
I'm just saying, we're everywhere. We're everywhere in the universe. That's all there is to it,
Traveling
you might find us
then they need to show us. If
absolutely they do.
It ain't there.
Well, we've already put Picard on blast, and we're going to continue to put them on blast because they need to have a black character besides Raffi last for longer than 2 minutes on screen. Mm-hmm. So when I see that, when they see that, they'll start to get more love from me. I love LeVar.
I'm hopeful and dismayed by the lack of LeVar so far. So
dig it.
Come on. Get him in there. He's coming. He's got to get in there.
He has to be. He's
got to get in there.
How do you have? We talked about this. How do you have a Hugh storyline and kill off Hugh, and there's no LeVar? Sabrina and Fran said it best. Like, what was his first line? Every time you saw Hugh, the first thing out of his mouth was, "How's my friend Geordi?" He didn't ask about Picard or no damn 7 of 9 or anything like what the hell?
Like, what's
you
up
didn't
with
even know
Geordi,
7 of 9, right? How's my friend Geordi?
Oh yeah.
Picard writers, you're on blast.
That's right.
You better get it up to speed with LeVar. Come on now. All right. So I think, have we done it all? Have we gone full circle?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
You've got me talking like a fan, which is like, I want to see LeVar.
I think we have monopolized enough of your time this evening, which I'm thoroughly grateful for. Thank you so much for being on our show.
Thank you all for having me. Thank you for taking my mother under your wing.
It could be argued that it went the other way.
Exactly.
It's whichever way it went. Interacting with my mother is no simple task, and it sounds like you've all really just gone above and beyond. So my many appreciations, and I'm looking forward to more.
I am looking forward to the next convention and meeting your mother there, because we're gonna go party. I'm telling you. Mom, meet us at the Rio Bar.
Oh man!
Oh wait, hey, no, we got April 2022 coming up first.
I haven't gotten an offer yet, but I really hope to be there. I have some Trekkie family in Chicago that I would love to bring to the convention as well. So hopefully I'll get an offer for
I got to go to Chicago.
Okay.
You gotta get on another plane, Franny. Oh my God.
I gotta get on another damn plane. That's all right. I got 30 pills. I got 30 pills. Okay.
There you go.
Fran gets on planes for Trek. That's all there is to it.
Real Pulaski energy from that. I gotta do this thing. But for you, I'll do it. For you, I'll do it.
Data.
Do it.
Data.
Not my name.
So, and Noah, Yvette says she's sorry she couldn't be here, that she missed you, but we're here to take her break. She's traveling right now, but we love you. And I honestly had another thing to say, and I don't remember what it is. It went whoosh. It's gone.
I'm excited. You guys have an obligation to post these pictures on Twitter with my mom, dead center.
Oh, believe you me, they will.
They're going
posted.
in the notes. They're going in the notes of this podcast.
Good. I can't wait to see them, because we had a couple, but my dad's pictures came out grainy because he was too excited. So I want to see the real ones.
Okay, but yeah, ours are pretty cool. We've got some good ones. So yeah.
I want to get the ones that the guy, the photographer was taking too, because everybody left. It was just us at that point. Just the white sofa.
Please tell Mary that we love her.
I will.
We can't wait to see her work for next season. That we're all like, she's a gem, man. She's so awesome.
There you go. Yes, I would definitely let her know. And I agree.
We heart Mary.
Me too.
We heart Mary really big.
That's the show. That's the show. I'll tell you. Mm-hmm. That is the show. And okay, we're going to keep it going, because we were formed. I don't know if you know this. The reason why we even came together was because we were defending Discovery on the internet. And we finally just broke away from all of the other groups and formed our own group so that we could just talk about Discovery all daggone day long.
I very much appreciate that. And that whole topic is a whole nother podcast, which I'm sure you all have covered eloquently and brilliantly, but it's very much appreciated. Let's just say that. It's appreciated, from all the cast, Mary, me, Sonequa, those things really matter to us all. So
we've got
appreciate it.
You're welcome. And we've got Disco's back, like for real. All of it, like the entire cast. I mean, we love you all. Good. Straight up.
Ask me about a beef I've got going on with another person somewhere else.
So, folks, thank you. Show. We're going to wrap this bad boy up because we're descending into chaos now. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Noah, for being here. If you guys have opinions that you would like to express towards Noah, and if you strongly disagree with him about whether or not there are Black Andorians,
bring it on.
Bring it on. Noah, where can they bring it on?
They can, if they have opinions where they disagree with me, I don't want to hear it. I'm always right.
That's right.
So you can, do whatever you want. But if you'd like to say how right I am, how you agree with every opinion I have, if you'd never disagree with me, you can find me on Twitter at N_K. Oh, wait, N_A_K. All right, God, I know my name. It's okay. It's pretty long, but I know it. And I'm on Twitch as the Type 1 Trekkie. We've been having a really fun, amazing time just enjoying each other's company. So that's been wonderful as well. So you can hang out with me there.
Do you have anything you want to shout out or promote that's coming up recently that you want us to know about?
Nothing. There's a couple of things which will come shortly, which will you'll know when they're there. Okay. But in the meantime, just come hang out with me on Twitch because we can really have a real just a good vibes hangout session there.
Nice. Awesome. You might convert some OGs over here to Twitch. So we'll see.
Wow. That would be real.
So everybody, thanks for listening. If you want to get in touch with the SyFy Sistas, Sabrina, do you want to do the rundown or shall I do the rundown for you?
You can do it.
Okay, let's see how much I can spell. SyFy Sistas, we are SyFy Sistas. We are on Facebook at the Mothership, which is MUTHASHIP, and the SyFy Sistas Book Club, which we meet every other month. We also are on Twitter at SyFy Sistas and on Instagram at SyFy.Sistas. So join us. And one last thing before we go, the baddest engineer in the universe is Dose the Anonymous. Dose. So if he's responsible for all the music that you hear on our show, as well as our engineering, if you need music productions or engineering, reach him at dosetheanonymous1@gmail.com, DOSTHEANONYMOUS, the number 1@gmail.com. People, we love y'all. Noah, we love you even more. Mary, if you're listening, and we know you are, we love you the biggest.
Hell yeah.
All right, y'all, we're out of here. Peace, love, and hair grease.
Bye.